let me come down to now more immediate concerns, and that continues to be on what happens as far as the freight side. And you expressed your inability to try and up the freight rate in your budget, and you are hoping that you will be able to do that. Of course, a lot of it will also depend on the state of the economy. What's your sense today? Because we are now, at least when you talk to people in the cement sector, you talk to people in the steel sector, they're seeing signs of a revival there. What's your own sense as far as freight is concerned?
But you're absolutely right. See, this is a complete externality to the railways. The railway is a transporter. So what railway should do is to keep itself ready to handle the traffic. That was never the case in the past. In the past, all our customers were complaining that we have to chase you for getting wagons. Today it's exactly the opposite. We have created a customer service manager for each of the industry. So therefore our people are going and meeting them and telling them and finding out from them what is that they need. First time we have created 1.2 billion tons of cargo handling capacity is ready with the railways, which we did it not this year, last year itself. Because when we said, why should people chase us? We should be ready with it. Last year we could not use it fully because the movement of some of the core sector commodities didn't happen as much as we wanted. But this year again we have been talking to our major customer, that's coal. More than 50% of the cargo comes from only one segment. And coal, we are ready to handle as much as they want us to pick up and handle. In fact, this year again, we handle whatever they wanted. Therefore, there is a huge stock available with the power companies. The coal companies also could mine out more because they have to be transported. So, this is something which we are ready with this. So, what we can do is to be ready with the capacity. And it's the first time that the capacity is ready ahead of the demand coming up. So, I am sure the market is picking up. Things should improve.
What kind of volume impact uptick are you working with at this point in time? The visibility that you have today, sir?
You know, I feel aluminum industry is doing better, but volumes are not as large. The power industry, the coal demand from the power industry will rise only when the power consumption will rise. Hopefully that again depends upon the overall industrial pickup for the demand. I think that also is picking up slowly. Also, the cement and steel will depend upon again the growth in the demand that pick up. So in a way railways will also create demand for them. So because when we start putting up new lines, everything, the more cement will be necessary. So railway is going to benefit by doing that because then our customers also will start transporting more from us. So I think this core sector is necessary, but we have decided to change the strategy. We don't want to be dependent only on these few bulk commodities. That's too dangerous and too risky for a one customer approach. So same way we should not have only few commodities centric strategy. So we are trying to diversify the freight basket. We are also trying to increase the volume in some of the key areas like parcel business. But it takes time. See, these are only structural issues. The organization as large as railways cannot be changed overnight. But the beginning has happened. The member railway board on my direction has met each and every industry personally. There have been individual meetings taking place at the level of general managers. The targets have been given to general managers, to DRMs very specifically. They have been monitored on a weekly basis. We are trying to take corrective steps if necessary. For example, there was a port congestion charge, so we reduced it. There was a heavy season charge, we removed it. So we have taken a number of such measures. The benefit of that, I hope,
the volumes offset the
volumes
losses.
have to come up. But we have done that, and this is actually what the long-standing realization for everybody that this freight and fare imbalance, cost subsidization has to go down. So cost subsidization process has started with the freight coming down, not increasing. So therefore we are not unduly burdening the real income giver to us, that's the cargo. So we are actually working on that. I hope the next few years time, I mean this year again I hope that we are able to meet a target, which is depends on the economy picking up of course. And I am also sure that as we diversify the commodity, which will take time, but over a period of time that will also will benefit. We have started another thing, not to just depend on the revenues coming only from two sources, freight and fare. We are creating a new directorate, non-fare revenue directorate, non-rail revenue directorate. This will be creating revenue streams from various sectors. And as we see in case of Japan, the non-rail revenue is as high as 30%. In India, it is hardly anything. So that again is necessary for the long-term stability of railways finances.
It's very minuscule at this point in time, sir, what you get by way of advertising and so on and so forth. So what can be the realistic expectation? You spoke about it in the budget, but what is the realistic expectation as you look at what has been rolled out today?
You know, there has been an estimation. Again, you know, you must also understand the budget for advertisement depends upon the bottom lines of the companies. So even budget advertisement expenditure is directly related. As you know, even in media business you see that. So people, profitability has to rise. We are also helping them partly by reducing their cost of freight operation. But if the profitability rises, there will be advertising more. But advertising potential is good. We also want to tap the all other avenues of. So there is a clear-cut directorate which has been created for the first time. This again, I am not very sure
whether you will see the result will happen
this year. It will take time because of structural issues. But the beginning had to be made. See, I know somebody else will say that I did it after a few years. But I must make a beginning. I am doing it in the interest of railways, not to take credit for myself.
Well, let me ask you also, since we're talking about revenue optimization and ideas to generate more revenues, on the land monetization front as well, sir, and also the target that you've set out as far as development or redevelopment of these railway stations are concerned. What is, again, the realistic targets? I mean, yes, you've given a number, but what do you believe can be done in this financial year?
I will tell you, I think this financial year, I am very sure at least, if not more, 10 must go on steam. Most of the permission necessary for redevelopment of station will be with the state and with the municipal government. So what is that we can do sitting in Delhi without making them as partners? And therefore, one of the reasons why it has not taken off as much faster is because of this. So if you make state governments partner, that's another dimension to station
development. Most states are under the BJP's rules, sir, today, so surely you can push them a little, nudge them, prod them to move forward.
One thing is the political dimension. The other part is that if you make them partner, they also realize that they are also going to benefit from it, they will do it. The third one, so one is the PPP, pure PPP. Second, as I said, PPP with financing from the fund. Third, state government partnership. And fourth, which is country to country.
Okay.
The country like Korea, country like China, country like Japan, even Germany, to France some extent, they are all saying that they are interested to help us with redevelopment of station.
Okay.
So there we'll do agreement not with any private company, but with the government to government, which is already there. The protocol has already been made. So I think we can take it forward. So there will be 4 different streams through which station development should happen.
Okay. So you're saying at least 10 should go through in this financial year?
I think so.
Okay. Land monetization, any forward movement on that?
You know, that's a little more complex issue because most of the land the railway has, contrary to the belief, is largely on the side of the track. And because tracks are so large, it's one of the largest network in the world, it looks like it's a huge land. But that land to monetize next to the track is how do you do it? Because the trains are running there. So, and either side of the track, we should try to keep it vacant. So that's one part. But wherever it is available, for example, we are trying to do it, that's why I said we are starting private railway sidings. We can think about making warehouses. We are thinking about private freight terminals. So all of that we want to monetize in this way. I think some small part of land still could be left. I think we should first remove the encroachment of that. Because though it's on the paper, it is available to you, it is virtually not in your hands.
Sure.
So I think that again is an issue which I need to talk to the state government. We'll have to make a policy to rehouse some of the slum dwellers. Because to evict them, take them away is something which is impractical.
Right.
So therefore, I think we really need to work out with a policy. That's not just railways only as an entity. Central government as a whole may have to think about a policy to redevelop the land which is currently occupied, encroached by slums.
Okay. Let me ask you about the Railway Development Authority and where things stand on that, because this is again one of the ideas that you presented in the budget. How much work has been done now?
This is, as far as we are concerned, we had invited a lot of suggestions. All that is over. It's now with the legal people. We'll have to only decide 2 things, rather one thing, whether we should take a legislative approach or we should take it administrative approach to create one. So that process, the law experts on law will give us an opinion, then we'll go ahead with that.
Okay, so you're still awaiting opinion on whether you should take
only
this to Parliament?
Just to avoid any more delays, because go through one process and then get stuck. then you cannot withdraw it either. So we are thinking about most expeditious and the most practical way of taking it out.
IRCTC, sir, you know, when we first did our interview, when you took over, you talked about the possibility of an eventual listing, for instance, of the IRCTC, and you asked the question, why can't that be something that we work towards? Where do you think
I think we will have to, over a period of time, list all the companies. And I will just give one, if you give me 1 or 2 minutes. If we spend this huge capex only departmentally, there is no valuation benefit that comes to the railways. But just imagine we use some of the PSUs like RVNL or IRCON, and they actually incur the capital expenditure. Because of the volume going up, also the bottom line improving, the valuation of those companies will improve considerably. So if you divest part of their equity, once it is the valuation has increased considerably, the benefit of that will come to you in a very substantial way. So by doing that, whatever debt we are talking about, we'll be able to liquidate all that debt with a small divestment. Coming out, because we borrowed, we could spend more. Because we could spend more, the valuation went up. Because the valuation went up, part of the divestment money can be used for liquidation of loans. So loan, people feel is a problem. It's not really, because of that, the capex is improved, capex is improved, the viability of railways improved, and also because of all this, the ability of the railways to pay more to the borrower is also increases considerably. Now coming to the point of listing, I think we have already said in my budget speech, is to create a holding company. So all the different companies in the railway family will be held by this holding company. I think that's a good time to actually go in for a listing. So that is SBI Cap is helping us to prepare a complete concept for it. We have requested them to do that, more or less ready. So I think that again...
What's the timeline, sir?
I think this holding company is something which will have to go to the cabinet for approval. Once that is done, we'll take it forward.
So are you expecting to do that over the next few weeks, months?
A few months for sure, definitely.
And you believe that the holding company structure should be in place within this financial year?
Yeah, but as I said, this is a concept, has to be approved by the much bigger government entities, finance ministry, the cabinet eventually. But it's a concept we are trying to move forward.
Okay. Let me end by asking you, sir, what is the immediate priority? You've talked about the next few years, but what is the immediate priority at this point in time?
You know, this year is a year of moving on. Last year was the beginning. This year is a period of accelerating the pace. This is a year of consolidation. This is also a year of taking some of these critical structural measures. Like you said, development authority is a structural measure. Delegation was done last year. We want to institutionalize it. We want to create MOUs with all the zones. We did it 2 zones last year. We want to bring in more transparency into operation. We want to also actually bring in these cross-functional entities together. So we have created 2 directorates, but we'll create about more task forces. All of that should happen this year. And also accelerate the pace of implementation. This again will happen, and you'll see a tangible results of that this year. So all of that put together, I think is a year of moving on, the year of consolidation, year of thinking ahead, without forgetting where we started.
Mr. Prabhu, it's always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you very much for joining us. Appreciate your time, and we wish you the very best of luck as you move ahead and you move forward. With that, it is time for us to wrap up this CNBC TV 18 special. From all of us here, goodbye. Many thanks for watching.